right now in Kenya, President Ruto vows to send forces to Haiti despite a court order. Now, listen to this. The United States and Anthony Blinken spoke to President Ruto and they urged him to send troops to Haiti to help fight, quote unquote, gang violence.
Mm.
Gang violence, who, through the research of people like Azili Danto and others, have found that billionaires like BGO and other nefarious participants in Haiti have created this gang violence.
Mm-hmm.
And the Kenyan Supreme Court ruled that it was unconstitutional for the president to send 1,000 police officers to Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have Ruto. Once again, we talk about corruption, like we just discussed with the media and CNN. You have President Ruto, who is vowing to proceed with the plan to send 1,000 Kenyan police officers to Haiti, despite the court's ruling that the deployment would be unconstitutional.
Exactly. Exactly. And apparently there are some provisions in the Kenyan constitution that say that if another country requests uh, support, military support or police support, I think they'd be sending, I think, 1,000 police officers, as if that's going to make some type of difference. If they request it, then he would still be allowed to send the troops if the request comes forward. So I sent a correspondence to our sister attorney Esli Danto, and she and a group of attorneys have filed a lawsuit against the illegal, unelected government that has been running Haiti or ruling Haiti since the assassination of Jovenel Moise. And she said that the illegal government, which is led by Ariel Henry, has absolutely no authority to request anything. But of course, these people don't care anything about the rules of law or justice or anything along those lines. They would simply make the decisions. Apparently, the United States is made a decision to give Kenya millions of dollars worth of, I forgot it was 3.2 or somewhere in that neighborhood, millions of dollars worth of old military gear and hardware that they're no longer using. They have sitting somewhere in a warehouse. And it just appears to me that Dr. Ruto is determined to make Kenya the leading neo-colony on the African continent. Obviously, he has a lot of competition for that title, unfortunately. Neocolonialism is the bane of Africa. It's the key element, in my opinion, is keeping African people from being totally liberated and empowered. And it's up to the youth of Africa to rise up against neo-colonialists, the neo-colonial regimes that run most of these countries, and remove them the same way Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, Sekou Touré, Modibo Keita, and Julius Nyerere and the others remove the colonial powers. I mean, that's what has to happen. So the judge makes a ruling. There's no doubt that the judge understands the laws of what the president is allowed to do. I mean, he's making this decision apparently unilaterally, because there's some opposition in the Kenyan parliament. As a matter of fact, that's how it wound up in the Kenyan High Court. So
Now
go ahead.
imagine if this were another issue where a president was unilaterally making a decision to affect his country. Imagine if the Kenyan Supreme Court ruled that homosexuality will be legalized and the president stepped in and unilaterally made a decision not to do it, the United States government would be all over that. They would be sanctioning the president for going against democracy. So here you have democracy working as it should, where one person does not have the authority to make these type of decisions, and yet when it's in favor of something that the U.S. is in favor of, they're not going to step in and sanction Ruto for making this decision. You talked about how they're willing to just concede, or I shouldn't say concede. They're willing to give power to whoever they wish to recognize, similar to how they did in Venezuela when Maduro was the president. They tried to push him aside and recognize someone else as the president.
Hmm.
And this is how they operate. And I'm reading this article here. It says this is a quote from a protester. This on Democracy Now! It says the people can't take it anymore because Ariel Henry is building gangs to plunder and destroy these people. Well, today we say that the battle for the revolution is possible. The final fight for justice is possible. We must disrupt Ariel with all his team to give this country another direction. So wait a minute. The same leader who is running to the United States and running to the Western world for help because of gang activity in his country, he had people in the country who are saying he is the one creating the gangs.
Hmm. Well, no doubt. I mean, he's dependent upon chaos in order to get these the support that he's getting, from the United States and Canada and other countries. And obviously, the police, the Kenyan police, if they came, would be used to keep him in office, even though he hasn't been elected. So that makes Ruto complicit in the continuing oppression of the masses of people in Haiti. Whereas he's using the guise of we're going in to protect and prevent this violence that's taking place. That's not what it's about at all. It's about him getting in a position to be one of the leading neo-colonial beneficiaries of American largesse, and continue along those lines, moving Kenya towards being one of the supreme neo-colonies on the African continent. That's really all this is about. It's all about power. There are no ethics involved in any of this from any of these people who are involved in the process, other than those like Sister Danto and the others, people on the ground in Haiti who are fighting to liberate themselves. The solution to the problem is a government of the people, for the people, and by the people of Haiti. They had a democratically elected government in Aristide in the United States, removed him from office. So this is the continuing game plan, and African people as a global community just have to rise up against all of these instances where other countries are trying to impose their will on our people.
That's right. Yeah, it seems as though Ruto is in a race with Akufo-Addo to become the next Kagame of Africa. Trying to take his throne as a leading neo-colonial puppet on the continent.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of competition for that job, and unfortunately, they have a factory that seems to be manufacturing these guys, and we have to say the youth of Africa have to do what they've done in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. That's that's the simple solution. I mean, it's not simple to execute it. We see that Macky Sall in Senegal has postponed elections. You can't even have a democratic election in countries like Rwanda and Uganda. because the opposition is either harassed, or in the case of the candidates in Rwanda, they're put in jail. So, and these are the countries that the United States supports. So, what a farce! I mean, when they send the the director of Central Intelligence to the African continent, which the Biden administration did, last week, they sent the director of Central Intelligence to meet with African leaders. What does that tell you? I mean, what what does the director of Central Intelligence have to do with any type of uh, a democracy on the African continent? This is an organization which has destroyed all self-determining, not all, but every effort towards self-determination. They put forth the effort to either overthrow the leaders or thwart the efforts, or make it very difficult. And I believe that actually what the CIA or leader was doing, what the director of the CIA was doing over there, was rounding up support against South Africa. That's what I believe he was doing. And we'll see how it plays out. But
Yeah, he is a Zionist.
yes, no doubt, the entire Biden administration is Zionist.
Yeah, I saw a video on YouTube where Akufo-Addo was sitting at a table with Anthony Blinken, and he was begging for U.S. support against Burkina Faso and Mali because he said that they were strengthening their ties with Russia and they were imposing on the Ghanaian border. So he was begging for a partnership.
Mm.
And this is the type of behavior that has to make you sick to your stomach when you think about the race trading Negroes that sold our ancestors into slavery. Negroes like Akufo-Addo, who was willing to go to the European in the United States and essentially snitch on his own brothers on the continent to try to compile some type of plan to go against them and
Mm.
what they're doing. As he sees, they separated themselves from ECOWAS
Mm-hmm.
and they are actually building out a sovereign nation for themselves, independent of any U.S. support. So Akufo-Addo steps up and says, no, 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 we can't have this. We can't have you running away from master. We can't have you going out and enriching yourself on your own. We got to drag you back down into the mud with us, because if you represent sovereignty and the independence in your nation, people are going to look to me in Ghana and ask, why can't we do the same thing? And I'll be put out of power and I won't be able to take these bribes and these trinkets and this money that I'm receiving from the United States.
Yeah. What it shows is just how upside down the world is, and these leaders on the African continent are part of it, because each one of these nations, particularly Mali and Burkina Faso, are fighting the jihadist terrorists in the Sahel, and those terrorists are making advances, already into Benin. Um, they made some forays into parts of Senegal. Just a matter of time before they start making forays into Ghana. And so you would think that these leaders would say, we need to support these people who are fighting these terrorists. I mean, it's like Iran. United States started supposedly bombing various militias. They're called Iranian-backed militias that are in Syria and Iraq. Okay, now these are not Iranians, although they claim that they may be getting some support from the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, and of course General Soleimani was the greatest enemy that the Islamic State and the jihadists has ever had, and they killed him. But you would think that if you were truly interested in in fighting terrorism, that you would be aligned with the people who are fighting terrorism. But instead, the United States is trying to they kill Soleimani, and they're trying to kill these other organizations who only exist because of the rise of the Islamic terrorism, some of which was certainly at the behest or facilitated or allowed, by various U.S. administrations from Bush through Biden, including Obama and Trump. So you would think that Akufo-Addo and these other guys would want to align with someone who's fighting these people, because if you don't stop, if they're not stopped there, then these other countries, Togo, Sierra Leone, all these countries become vulnerable. Cote d'Ivoire. So, but it shows that no, they're more interested in their personal wealth, self-aggrandizement, and the bourgeois class of people that they represent. That's why Kwame Nkrumah wrote his last book, Class Struggle in Africa. He saw this coming. He said, this is going to be the battle against the boule of Africa. So, and that's what these neo-colonial leaders represent. So they serve the interests of their master. They are comprador classes. Dr. Cynthia McKinney talks about. So, that's it. The youth of Africa have a model sitting right there to look at in those three countries, and that's what needs to happen.